All right, we finally come to the last stop for this thread where we talk about doctrine.
What do we even mean when we say something is doctrine?
Here, Jacob's going to try to define different words to set up the rest of his argument about doctrine. But remember, in the postmodern argument, words don't have meanings of their own. They can only gain meaning from the way that you use them. In the postmodern argument, it's not the words that matter, it's how you respond that matters.
To understand changes in the church over time, it is critical to understand three different concepts: doctrine, practice, also known as policy, and culture. Practice or policy is how we apply the doctrines, and it will change based on the context. And culture in the church is even more changeable, as this is merely the attitude of members regarding doctrines and practices of the church.
Notice how the big difference is primarily how we respond to the teaching. He's making the postmodern argument and doesn't even realize.
It also should be noted that sometimes practices or policies have been referred to by as doctrine.
See what happened there? The brethren didn't use the word the way that Jacob defined it, so the brethren were wrong. And that doesn't have to happen with the postmodern argument. The brethren can still be infallible, even though the old teaching is superseded by a new teaching today.
But it's important to remember the difference.
And again, because Jacob's style of argumentation rests upon solid definitions of words rather than focusing on human behaviors and attitudes, he's going to have to shuffle the words again.
The question to ask is this a core spiritual truth?
There's that word again, truth. Did we ever define what that means?
Or is this the way that we apply a core spiritual truth? That is the way you can tell the difference between a policy and a doctrine. But regardless of any of these distinctions, our doctrine, meaning the truth claims that are made by our leaders officially.
So there it is again. When Jacob talks about the truth, he's talking about a description of reality. The postmodern argument is when Jesus says, I am the truth, he's not promising us a description of reality as it is. He's giving us a point of focus for our attitudes and behavior so we can emulate his character. He's promising us a reality that can be. That means the only meaningful difference between doctrine, policy, culture, whether or not it's a calling from God or if it's just an assignment from our neighbor who happens to be the Elders Quorum president, is how willing we are to embrace the transformation.
They murmur, saying it is a hard thing which I have required of them, but I have not required it of them. But it is a commandment of the Lord.
The Sunday after his ordination, Easton would pass the sacrament for the first time. And his privately held motivation was that he could present himself and these sacred emblems to his Father.
But who do you say that I am? You are the Christ,